Okay, welcome to Father's Perspective, where we look at the entire planet and we give you the perspective on a father's point of view. I'm your host. My name is Joel Carter. My company is called Monarch Services. We have with us
Dana Tokley, Pleasant Cuts.
Devin Jones, Lifestyle Publications.
and last but not least, we have
A.T. Sauls from Father's Perspective.
he also has an organization called ATS Solutions, King's Kitchen, and a variety of other businesses that would be in our details during this video. So now what we want to start off, we want to start the topic today. We understand anyone here could look at the world or look at the United States, look at the family, and understand what the problem is. So we're going to go into a solution, okay? Now our nation is in peril, right? Due to chaos going into each and every community. Some people leave the big city, the inner cities, into the suburbs, and chaos has crept into the suburbs, interfering with everyone's peace. So now, we understand what the problem is. The problem is the destruction of the family. If you could repair the problem right now in regards to the destruction of the family, where would you start and why?
Okay, let me ask a question before I answer that. When you say the destruction of the family, we talking about the nucleus family?
The nucleus family.
Okay.
And now, could you explain what the nucleus family is?
The nucleus family is the traditional family unit.
Okay.
Okay. And that seems to be what's under fire.
Absolutely.
So what I would do, if you want to restore anything, you got to get the original blueprint.
Absolutely.
So I would start with the man. If I'm going to restore the family, I would start with the man, because statistic-wise, when you have a single mother with children, they are more susceptible to dropping out of school, teenage pregnancy, getting on drugs, or going to prison. You see, but when you have a man that's a single father, the kids are more likely to finish high school, not be on drugs, not be pregnant, no teenage pregnancy, with just the father. So if I'm going to restore the family, I got to get with the men. You see, because there's something about a man that's natural to take authority and to bring everything under control. With a woman, you see a lot of chaos because they are so emotional, and if they go on feelings, your feelings change. So that's not stability. The man is going to keep it stable because he's logical and he's not about his feelings. That's why I say whenever you see a man in his feelings, that's a problem. That's a problem. So I would start with restoring the man.
So now, I'm gonna piggyback off of what you said. So like you said, restore the man, because the women, I mean, they might try their best, but there's a key component of the family that is missing. A woman provides the family with feminine leadership. The man provides the family with masculine leadership. When you remove the masculine leadership, as Mr. A.T. Saul said, the kids are susceptible to anything. Now, so does anyone have any interjections?
It kind of reminded me of when I was writing my book, right? I was talking to my brother's friend, and he was telling me a story when he was growing up in the hood. The only person they had, as far as like leadership or influence, was one of the biggest drug dealers that was around. And he took him all to the side, and he said, "Who the toughest guy in the hood?" And he said, "You." He said, "No, I'm not." And he pointed to the working man that was coming out the house. He said, "No, this guy goes home, come home, works all day, and still takes care of his family. He does more than any of us." And when he told me that story, he said, "Man, that thing changed my whole life."
Right.
He said, "Ever since then, I just wanted to be that man instead of the drug dealer."
That's good.
to kind of, that, right, it's that influence, the fact that even though he was doing what he was doing and he was a big influence, he still directed it to the right way.
To the right way.
Which proves the point of you need more men like that to point what is right and what is wrong.
That's right. Because when you had men back in the day in communities, you ain't have all these problems you had. A man would check you on the street. Say, yo, man, y'all ain't doing that around here? You ain't selling no drugs around here. Y'all take that stuff down there. And them guys listen. Now they want to pull out a gun on you and this and that. And that's because the respect isn't there no more. Because you got 40, 50 years of, I don't need a man. Men ain't this, men ain't that. You see? Now we got more men that want to be women.
Right.
Yeah.
Which makes it confusing because if I'm the son, right,
Mm-hmm.
and my mom is saying, men ain't this, men ain't that, men ain't this, who am I?
Yeah, well, when am I going to grow up to be?
I'm confused.
Because I heard you say it, you was talking on the phone.
Yeah, and like you said, even males or even men that ain't doing what they're supposed to be doing recognize when a father is present. See, the drug dealer had a lot of influence in the community, and people thought that he was the most dominant or toughest man in the community until he pointed out one who was actually doing what he was supposed to be doing.
Right.
So other men
Doing
recognize
what's
him.
right. That's right. That's right. Other men recognize that. You know in your heart who you look up to. That's why we need more men doing the right thing.
Right. That shows you he wanted to be that man.
Right.
See,
That was his idol.
right.
But yet he in the game.
Right.
Because it take a lot to get out the game. You have to have a lot of substance to say, look, I'm out of here. I'm dropping everything. And don't let the temptation get you.
So now I know we still go ahead. What are you going to say?
Yeah, you said something earlier about like the lack of respect.
Mm-hmm.
Like usually a man would say, we don't do that, we don't do that. Now with the kid growing up under the single mother, who's, I don't need a man, I don't need a man. Her son, like you said, I'm gonna grow up to be a man. That actually plants the seed of the disrespect,
Right.
which brings on.
Right. When you see the single mother disrespecting men, okay, the child is going to grow up and disrespect men. You see why? Because she is the influence. He's not identifying with the men anymore. This is why women have to be mindful of how you raising your child. You're raising your son to be a sports fanatic that he can take care of you, or you let him go out there and do drugs. I know it's wrong, but you're gonna do what you gotta do. Why? Because you a man.
I gotta take care of my mom.
Yeah. That becomes the excuse to be out there.
Until he gets shot. Oh my goodness.
And then she the first one crying. But you seen him acting like that. You didn't put no men in his life. Get him around some real men that's gonna talk to him. That he can identify with. See, these kids are not identifying with men now. Yeah. And then they listening to all these narratives out there, and they don't know what they want to be. But you have a lot of them that want the family, but don't know where to start at. And this is the image that we have to bring to them.
So now, in restoring a man, right? We would start with the man in regards to restoring the family to help the community and the nation and the world. Where would we start in regards to what would be the first point that I would start, the starting point when it comes to restoring the man? How would I begin? Would it be training on morals? Would it be restoring family values? Would it be changing his mentality? Or would it be the willingness to endure some of the trials that cause men to step away from their family? Where would you start?
Probably you would start with conversation. You see, that's the first place to start. Because if we're not talking about it, then they're not hearing it. You see, but it would start with a conversation on manhood.
Okay.
See, most men think that they already men.
Oh.
You know.
Yeah, you're right.
But then as soon as you tell them to man up, or she talking about be a man, there's a question mark on him. You see, in his mind, it's like, well, how do I do that? You know, I'm 18. This is the first time that I heard that. You know, be a man. How do I be something that I don't know? And we don't have many examples out here, or nobody pushing it. You know, I think about in the 1960s, we had shows that showed what a man does.
Right.
Now the show, I was watching this show yesterday with Carol, with the guy that got the suspenders, bald head, you know,
Mr. Brown?
Mr. Brown. And I'm sitting there, and you know he's funny, but then you watch the next show with the guy that's a fireman. Okay,
Yeah.
black dude, both of them black, but they silly.
Yeah.
They are really comedians, but they putting a bad image out on men.
Either silly or slow.
Slow, yeah. The kids is faster than you.
Right.
So they're not taking you serious.
Yeah. So if they're not taking you serious, then they are not taking your position in the community seriously.
But the aggressive man, you don't see anymore.
Right.
The
You don't
aggressive
see,
man,
you
don't
don't
see
see,
anymore.
you don't see Uncle Phil
Okay.
overly aggressive. He could get angry, but he gonna show you love afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see the Cosby. Yeah, he was goofy, but he was still stern. He was like, nah, I don't want them here. You know what I mean? I want them in the house. You know what I mean? He was still a man. You know what I mean? It's either now a father is either displayed as the abuser or soft or goofy.
Right.
One of the three.
No strong
Like
one.
the abuser. I'm just beating you down all day, and I hate my dad.
And you know what? They're very important to the child, because what is it about the children that the father's presence is needed? Why is it needed so prevalent for the children? And I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna give one example, and then let's go around the horn. Why is it so prevalent that the fathers are present for the children? Because the children are the most programmable people on the earth. They can be programmed very easily. And what parents normally do is program them with my morals, my values, and my standards. I'm going to put it on you. But if we can go around the room, and let's go from there, and then we'll end with Mr. A.T. Sauls.
All right, now, so what was the question again?
Why do we think that the father's presence is so needed into the family, but especially in regards to our children?
Well, I would say just a father bring forth honor, respect, you know, like key things like that. It'll bring awareness to the children. You know what I'm saying? So that reverence. You know what I'm saying? To keep everybody in line. So I would say that's important. That's one thing that they could bring, you know, to the children, to the youth, in regards to the family unit.
I think fathers are important because they bring direction. They gonna question your thought process. Why are you doing this? Why did you do it? How did you do it? This is what you do. Let me show you how to do this. It's more like direction and influence. It's not really like, it's just different. Like without that, you don't have that. So that's why I think it's important, because you know they're gonna question your action, question your thoughts. Why are you doing it?
I think fathers bring, I don't think I know, fathers bring security. You see, when daddy's around, you have protection. When daddy's around, you have answers. You know, when daddy's around, or when there's a father around, you have someone that you take second thought on contending with. You see? You know, you look at that man, you be like, all right, I'm listening. You see, instead of back and forth. You know, so fathers bring a lot of security to the children. When children know that dad and mom is home, they comfortable. They safe. You know, when something go on inside the house, and they can say, well, wait till dad get home.
That's a good place.
It's security,
It is, sir.
you know? And the same thing, you know, when it comes to discipline. It brings security to the school system. When the school say, I'm gonna call your father. Well, why would they say that I'm gonna call your father? Because father shows up at the school, introduce himself. This is my child. You ever have any problem with it? Call me.
Let me know.
You know? And that brings the whole security to the family. You know, the mother's happy, the kids are happy, especially when they see dad loving mommy. You know, they happy. You see? And secure.
It also seems like it raises the child well-rounded.
They be balanced.
When I'm raising around my mother, she teaches me from a woman's point of view.
Right.
So I grow up understanding women more because of the point of view that has been given from my mother. A father teaches from a masculine point of view. So the sons know how to process and problem solve from a man's point of view. But then he'll also understand women from his mother's point of view. And then the women will understand men by watching their father process from a masculine mindset. Oh,
Right. That's why it's important that the children, especially the girls, don't see the mother contending with the father. You know, contending with him. Like every time it sets the atmosphere up. And we don't recognize that makes them insecure. You see, because one day somebody gonna leave. You see?
Right.
Cannot trust anybody.
Right. So all that is done in the home. When you don't have the home corrected, it gets out into the community, then into the world. You know, you get a disobedient child home, then you send him to school because you're tired of him. And then he's in school cutting up.
Or go outside.
Yeah. Or go outside fighting, doing all type of stuff.
But now it's not even that. Now it's, I'm gonna just keep you outside because I don't trust you to be outside. So I just say you in your room with your little tablet, and now you just
In a whole different world.
Yeah.
now you don't want to be engaged because if you know what, because the fact of what you said if the mother and father's in the house, right? What came to mind is that engaging part. One, then they know how a man and a woman are supposed to talk to each other correctly.
Right.
And because both mother and father are engaging with the children together, then it's teaching the child how to communicate. Problem now is children don't know how to communicate. They stick in their own little bubble, and they don't know how to talk. They don't know how to speak. When you talk to them, they don't know how to have full sentences.
Right.
It's just they don't know how to gauge, and then they just figure they just the breast. They put a label on it.
Right. And then, you know, you got the parent that actually put all that work on the school.
Yeah.
You know, you got to see, you have to train my kid. You got to teach them how to do. Then what is he doing home? What is reinforcing it? They got this stuff called homework. It's like, are you checking his homework? Are you sitting with him and explaining? Are you talking to him to find out how is he thinking? How is she thinking? How do you know that they're not being influenced by the world?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, they had a interview with this girl, right? This doctor was sharing that she had this interview with this girl, and she asked her what did she want to be when she grew up, and the young lady was like, "Well, I want to have a family, you know, but I don't want to be married." And she said, "Well, why would you want to have children and not be married?" She said, "Because I can get child support in Section 8. I don't need no man for that."
wow.
But this is the mentality. Now, this girl had to have been about, 13, 14, right? And this was her mentality. Where did she get that from?
But there's no man to correct the thought.
You see?
But
So-
I see your conclusion. I see how this makes sense. But that's wrong.
So at her most precious state, her most programmable state, the information that was provided to her to develop a type of mindset or a core value system was, I don't need a man. You know what I mean?
At her most programmable state, you know, I'm gonna tell y'all this. It's not black, the black man, the white man, and all of this. No, it's the family. The family is being destroyed by outside forces, outside influences who want to create slaves again. Not just black slaves. If you tear the family out, who do you have? You got their own children. Now program them to be what you need them to be.
Yes.
That when they grow up and have children, it's perpetual.
Okay.
You see? And that's exactly what happened in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s. And we in 2020, and you ask the child that, and the child can only think about getting money at 13? Who taught him that? Yo, who taught her that? Was she listening to Carly B and all these influencers? You know, Beyonce? But we left our girls home. Fathers walked away from their daughters. You see, they walked away from them. So mom had the influence. Who was influencing mom? The modern woman mindset, the feminist mindset. Go and get your degree, have your career, then have a family.
They had a system in place.
Yeah.
That way you won't need a man for nothing, huh?
That way you won't need a man. Then they talking about men are walking away. Men got sick of it. And this is the thing that I want to talk about. Men got sick of it and walked away instead of standing up. You see? Instead of standing, it was more convenient for you to walk away from your daughter instead of contending for her. You see?
Took the
you
easy
see what I'm
way.
saying? The easy way. You know, so a real man, and I hate to use that terminology, so let's change it. You got males who do that. Males. They're going to do what is right when it's convenient. You see? Then you have men. They're going to do what is right regardless of what it costs. That child come out of me. You see? I birthed that child.
Yeah.
I conceived it.
Yeah.
You see? That I'm responsible for what come out of me.
And when you say that, right? Like the males walk away, but being the man when you fight, they try to make you feel bad for fighting. Or
They try to
it's
shame
everything
you.
against you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
you weak, or you going to court, why you keep going? Man, listen, I gotta go hard for mine.
That's right. It'll never be said when she grow up that I didn't fight for you.
Right.
It'll never be said.
And like you said from the beginning, now the man is fighting the court. He's fighting his baby mom.
Mm-hmm.
He's fighting his family.
Right.
He might even be fighting his religion.
Right.
Just
Oh no,
stand
this
for the
thing,
family.
yeah, man, this thing
This
is
is deep.
changing now. It's changing. Why? Because God said, I'm gonna turn the hearts of fathers back to the children, and the hearts of children back to the fathers. So, man, you see this. I don't want to call it a renaissance, but you see this here movement that children want their dad. You know, where's my dad? I want to talk to my father. Why you talk about dad like that? You know, why? Because that's his only dad. You know, you can't beat him down like that. You know, whether his dad did not take care of him or nothing, it was because of his dad that he's sitting there. It's because of your dad that you're here. Now, whatever transpired after that, that's between your dad, God, and your mom. You see?
You can see the Facebook video. It was a little girl, right? She was like, had to be like 5. She was talking to her mom, and she said, "How come you didn't tell Dad Happy Father's Day?" She was like, I don't know, I forgot. She said that. See, that's your problem. She's like, that is disrespectful. You know what Dad did for us? And you couldn't say Happy Father's Day? I feel like this is disrespectful. She was like 5 saying all this.
Yeah.
And I was like, the way that their mind is, they're like, nah, this ain't right.
Right.
You can see
the
the
kids
children
now.
Right.
Because men has always been the whole afterthought. Always been. You know, Father's Day, oh, you know, go to Lowe's and go to Home Depot, and we got this. No effort. You get a tie. You know, you barely get a card. You know, then they say Happy Father's Day.
Right.
You know,
Right.
and men do the same thing. Men do it to each other instead of really celebrating it. because of the guilt and the shame.
Wow. You're right, because there's times I call people on Father's Day. They go, happy Father's Day, bro. They say, thank you. Yeah, so what you doing today?
Yeah.
Like, oh man, I don't get one in return.
Yeah.
I don't get a happy Father's Day in return, bro.
Yeah. That's how
Thank
they
you.
was.
Like-
That's how my brother was. He said, yeah, it's just a regular day. I'm like, what are you talking about, bro?
It's a holiday,
I said,
bro.
regular
And
day.
you say a
I said-
regular day.
I said regular
How
day.
you
I
gonna
said-
say that?
I said, first of all, God calls himself the Father, so this is important.
Come on.
Yeah, this
What
is
you talking
important.
about? He was like, yeah, you're right. And then everywhere I went, because I was with him all day on Father's Day, right? Everywhere I went, I was like, happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day, bro. Everywhere.
Let me.
And then he caught on and started saying it. Like,
See, that's the way that it has to happen. That's why I said communication. We got to start speaking to one another, right? Encouraging one another. You see, we don't even have a networking system. Now, I'm for the man. I'm for pushing the man, but I'm not for bashing women. You see, because in all reality, they're like that because of us.
Okay.
Right.
They are like that because of us. Now, it's not our fault that they got like that, but it is our responsibility to restore, to help with the restoration process. Because once you get a man in his rightful place, you don't have to worry about them. They're going to fall in. Because at heart, they are looking for a real man. You see? They want a real man. She don't want to do all that work, you know? They had a conversation about equal pay. So they was talking about, well, asking the women, well, then why don't you be or work on an oil rig? Why don't you do some of them hard jobs, plumbing, and this and that? You go and get a degree in psychology and you want to take care of kids. Right. Even when you get into the corporate world, you got to become masculine just to compete. Yeah, the corporate world is gladiator school, you know?
Cool,
Yeah. And you got to know how to lead at home, the woman.
Most of the money's a tech job, so I don't know, because they make it like 45 an hour.
That's right.
Most of the women got that, so it's like, what you playing for?
Well, you know what? We want to end it off on that. We thank you guys
All
for tuning in. Please like, share, and comment. And we'll definitely get, if there's any questions, we'll get to those questions in some of our up and coming episodes. Again, this is a father's perspective. You guys have a great day.
Have a great day. Man up.
This Founders Month will give an illustration of our founder, Pastor A.T. Sauls, being a visionary. Pastor is a farmer who was given a large field by God. His responsibility is to tend to that field and to make it productive.
So he cut the trees, cut the grass, and began to plow. But the vision of tending to the entire field was too large for one man to manage. So for the assignment, he had to recruit.
While tending to that field, young men and women would pass by. So this farmer reached out to them and said to them, if you would help me with this field for 1 year, your life would never be the same.
So these young men and women helped this farmer with his field and discovered skills they never knew they had. Their lives were changing. They were becoming skilled farmers. They sowed seed and tended to the ground.
This farmer constantly taught them and reiterated that when these trees grow, the harvest would be great. As others passed by, this farmer would continue to recruit.
One person cut his arm on the plow machine and was sent to the AR and needed stitches. He returned to the farmer not to abandon the vision of helping this farmer with his field.
Another person sprained his toe while tending to the garden and needed medical attention. So he went to the hospital and got patched up. But when he returned to the farmer as well to help him with the mission of tending to this field.
Eventually, the trees grew and matured, and the farmer stood with his team, and they saw 40 acres of apple trees, full of apples ripe.
The farmer said, now it's time to pick the apples. but it's too many for me to pick alone. So he gave everyone a basket to pluck the apples from the trees.
When finished, the farmer and his team beheld a barn full of ripe red apples. So this farmer showed one team how to make applesauce and another to make apple juice, and they packaged it up and sent it to the market.
Another team he showed to make apple cider, and another how to make apple pie, and they packaged it and took it to the market. The last team he told to bag the apples whole and sell them at the market.
And the farmer and his team benefited tremendously from the mission of tending to the field.
This farmer never looked for followers, but he sought out students that he could teach about tending to an apple field. Students that won't allow a cut arm or a sprained toe to cause them to abandon the mission. We appreciate you, sir, and we're honored to serve by your side. The founder.
Y'all know what time it is when we come in.
Look, do you see?